Eric Burgess here, and we've been given the following equation. It says here that x squared plus 6x equal to 2, but we have a fourth root here. So whenever you have something that's got a root other than 2, what you can actually do is you can just take that same power. So we can just take this thing and we can raise it to the fourth power because they have a fourth root. And what this does is it creates 4 copies of this. And those 4 copies, that's how many copies you need to cancel out this root, essentially. And so that this will actually simplify with this. But if we do it to this side, we have to do it to the other side in order to keep the equality happy. So after doing that step, we are left with x squared plus 6x. And then 2 to the 4th power is 16. You could plug that in a calculator, or if you just think 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. Alright, so now that we're here, we're going to move this 16 over to the other side. I'm just going to go ahead and start to just sort of write this instead of writing out the individual step. But you could write minus 16 on both sides like this. Totally valid move. And now we need to factor. So looking at this, 16, let's see, what can we use to get 16x or 6x? Oh, I've miscopied this. This should be 6x. As you can see up here, it's 6x. I don't know how I made such a mistake. So, okay, we've got x and we've got x. We need a negative over here, so that means that we're going to have a positive and a negative. And then we know that 8 and 2 multiply to give 16. And if we do 8, positive 8 minus 2, that's going to give us 6. Now you can also use the quadratic formula if you feel so inclined to solve this. But now that we've got this, we can use the zero factor property. So that's x plus 8 is equal to 0, and x minus 2 is equal to 0. And we get x is equal to positive 2 and x is equal to negative 8. Now, this is great, but we still need to check it because we have a fourth root here, and that's an even number root. So even roots can't have negatives in the radical. So we're going to have to double check that. And the reason for that is whenever we have an even number of negatives times each other, we get a positive out. And whenever we have an odd number of negatives times each other, like say 3, we'll wind up with 1 extra negative at the end that will make the answer negative. So odd roots can actually have negatives in there, but even ones can't. So let's go ahead, let's check this thing. So we need the fourth root. So to type the fourth root, what we can do, there's a couple ways to do it. I've actually not tried to type it on this particular calculator. So we're going to use the caret key to do this. Most calculators have this key. And what it is, we're going to put in parentheses everything inside the radical. So that is going to be x squared. So I'm going to first put in x squared. So that's negative 8. And then we're going to square it. Plus 6 times negative 8. And then for the entire thing, so this is what's in the radical, we're going to raise it. And the way we raise it is to the 1/4 power. You could put 0.25. You could type it as a fraction if your calculator can do that. But basically, this 4 will become the denominator. And 1 is the power of whatever's inside. So everything in here we dealt with directly. So it's just going to be 1/4. And we get 2. So that's what we get on this side. And if we look at this, that's what it is. It's just 2. So negative 8 checks out. Now let's try out 2. So I can already tell you that 2 is going to work just because if you look at this, all the numbers are positive. So this will work. We don't have to worry about negatives. See, when you got negatives or you have negative stuff up here, you can run into issues. But because it's all positive, this should be a piece of cake. But I'll show you. It's good to be thorough, you know. We will delete this, confirm our suspicion, and we get 2. So this one also works. So we say that the elements that make this true, x can take on the element -8 or 2. These are the values of x that x can be that will make this statement a true statement. If you have any questions about this, let me know. Subscribe. If you're a Citrus College student, stop by online tutoring. We're there to help you. And we'll catch you in the next problem.